thank you. All right, the regular monthly meeting of November 18th, 2021, called to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Barbarello,
Here.
Mrs. Faybelovich,
Present.
Mr. Itkin,
Here.
Mrs. Mahan, Ms. Quackenbush,
Here.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Here.
Mr. Santana, Mr. Spindell,
Present.
Mr. Banta.
Here, Mr. Santana had a personal business to take care of, so will not be here this evening. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of, to attend the meetings of public bodies in which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, Fairlawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, sent to the Bergen Record and the Star Ledger. The announcement posting for the regular monthly meeting, along with the date, time, and place thereof, was distributed on November 8, 2021. Items to be discussed during closed work session may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations, and/or grievances, and tactics and techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property. The results of these discussions will be made public as soon as possible. As per Governor Murphy's Executive Order 251, masks must be worn the entire time while in the building for the duration of the meeting and while speaking. Proper PPE will be made available. Join me in a flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Mr. Norcia, you got a little presentation for us? No? Okay, no, I saw you on the computer.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome. This coming week, I'd just like to wish everybody I broke my own rule. I told everybody to speak into the microphone tonight, and I was the first offender. This coming week, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, healthy, safe, have a great time with your family and your loved ones. Enjoy some time and just be grateful this year. Today I was at a county meeting of all the superintendents in Bergen County, and there was about 80, 90 of us in the room. And the county superintendent, I don't want to jinx it, said that so far in Bergen County, we've made it 2.5 months, and there hasn't been one school closure in Bergen County due to COVID. Maybe a classroom here or there, but really few and far between. So Bergen County is looking really good so far. The mitigation measures that we're putting in place have been working, and so far things are moving along nicely for the first 2.5 months. While I am on the Thanksgiving theme, we will be having our first wellness weekend coming up, Thanksgiving weekend. So our students, they will have no work assigned to them for wellness weekend, so that everybody could hopefully just hit the reset button, enjoy, and just relax and have a good time and not have to worry about any work, projects, quizzes, or tests. That's all the comments that I have tonight. It's a light agenda.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go right on to the action items. Let's start on page 7. G1 and G2, approval of minutes and approval of second reading. There is no G2, but the way you've been doing it. So I get a motion for G1 and G2, please?
So moved. Second.
Oh, on the minutes? I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was doing here. Okay. Sorry about that. Any public have any questions or comments on the agenda items? Just agenda items for now. I apologize for skipping over that. I didn't mean to. Step up and just state your name and your town of residence, please. I don't think so. No. Select button.
Hello, hello. There we go.
There you go.
Christine Weinstein, Burbank Street. I just wanted to congratulate Ms. Lakai on her retirement. We had the pleasure of having her as a paraprofessional for my son when he was in 3rd grade, and she was really wonderful for him at the time. We had a really rough time in 3rd grade, and she was very patient, very, very understanding, and really a wonderful paraprofessional all around. So I just wanted to wish her a happy retirement.
Thank you, Christine. Any other members of the audience on agenda items? Seeing none. Okay, board members, agenda items, questions. Michael?
I'd also like to echo Christine's comment for Ms. Lakai. To be a paraprofessional for 21 years is an amazing feat because they work with some of our most needy kids and they give them love every day. And to do it for 21 years, I want to wish her a very happy retirement. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Ron?
Yeah, I would like to also congratulate Ms. LeKay on her retirement. I wish her nothing but happiness and good health. But also I want to thank the donors later in our agenda, giving out the money towards our STEAM programs and everything else. Again, once again, it shows you people are involved in our community, so I want to thank them.
Thank you, Ron. Any other board members? Rita?
Page 26, P5D. I'm very happy that the district is providing after-school help for elementary students to for the learning gaps that were missed. I'm just curious, what is the district doing for enriching the students after school for elementary school?
Besides addressing the learning gaps,
For
what is-
enrichment,
for enrichment,
yes.
besides what we're doing right now for the acceleration?
I mean, after school, we're providing to close the learning gaps, I understand. What are we doing for students to challenge them?
Nothing at this point. I mean, this is the purpose of the accelerated program is the purpose of the after-school academy was we're using federal funds to help students who are struggling due to the pandemic, and that's what we're offering right now. We don't have another program that we're offering for enrichment or acceleration for students, but what I will tell you is at our next Education Committee meeting, which I believe will be in December, I had reference to a couple of the Education Committee members that we will be having a conversation that will hopefully maybe address that question. So just stay tuned, and hopefully once that December agenda is set, you will be able to see that, and then there'll be more information following if that's a direction that we're going to go in. But right now, it's really to address the learning loss. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any Rita? Anyone else? Vlad?
So just to confirm a couple of things. The minutes were corrected, right?
I believe so. Mr. Sabigli, yes, they were. Yes, Wendy in the back is telling me they were corrected. So, yes, they were corrected.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Then we're pulling out motion item finance 7B like boy
The
for
long-range
architecture.
facility plan?
Hmm?
The long-range facility?
Yeah.
plan? Yeah, we are, just for the public, our long-range facility plan was just updated by the architect today, but we're going to be pulling it from the agenda so that the board has time to review it. It'll go back to the Finance Committee meeting prior to that, and it should be back on the December agenda.
Okay, and one last kind of a comment. Today on the agenda we have winter sports, which is item P5E. This is a winter sports. They're all indoor sports, which at this agenda do not have a sidebar agreement. In other words, if COVID forces us to close sports, and COVID numbers are rising now. I mean, it's good that we didn't have any closures so far. But if COVID forces us to close these sports, then we'll still be paying the coaches the way it stands right now. That's it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll try it again this time. Motion for G1 and G2.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Pavelovich?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan? Yes. Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarello?
Yes.
Mr. Icken?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
And Mr. Banta?
Yes. Could I have a motion for S1 through S3A?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Barbarello?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Favela-Vich,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan, and Mr. Banta.
Yes. I have a motion for E1 through E3, B as in boy.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan, Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Itkin,
No on item E1N like Nancy. E1N like Nancy. Yes on everything else.
Mrs. Favela-Vich,
No on E1L and yes on everything else.
Mr. Barbarillo,
Yes.
Mr. Banta.
Yes. A motion for P1 through P6C.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Mahan, Mr. Barbarillo,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mrs. Favela-Vich, Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes on everything. Yes on P1, B12. Yes on P1, B14. No on the rest of P1B. So P1, B12, P1, B14.
Mr. Itkin,
I abstain on item P5E like Edward. P5E like Edward. Yes on everything else.
and Mr. Banta.
Yes. I have a motion for SE1 through SE3.
So moved.
Second.
A roll call, please.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mr. Barbarillo,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Favela-Vich, Mrs. Mahan, and Mr. Banta.
Yes. All right, could I have a motion for F1 through F7C? Which one is the long range?
F7B is removed.
F7B is removed. Everything but F7B.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Barbarillo,
Yes.
Mrs. May, was that? Mrs. Mahan? Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Favela-Vich,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
and Mr. Banta.
Yes. All right, we have one addendum. Oh, did I miss?
Oh, no items.
There were no items in.
It's okay. It's all right. All right, we have one addendum. Okay, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the following personnel item is brought to the Board of Education for action. Approval of appointment, the appointment of the following personnel pending criminal history record check and employment verification in accordance with NJPL C5 be approved. And, okay. Could I have a motion for the addendum, please?
So moved.
May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Barbarillo,
Yes.
Mrs. Favela-Vich, Mr. Itkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan, Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
and Mr. Banta.
Yes. Okay, that concludes the agenda. This time, I'm going to open the floor to members of the public. Step up to the podium, state your name, town you live in, and we're going to open Google Docs again. It was open before, we didn't have any questions. It's been open, okay. Any members of the public?
Christine Weinstein, Burbank Street. The Fairlawn High School PTA class of 2025 is going to be running a shoe drive fundraiser, and I would like to ask permission to put a collection box in the Board of Ed office area, if that would be okay, to collect shoes for the drive.
You want a smelly shoebox in the superintendent's office? Is that what I'm hearing? Yes. No problem, of course.
Thank you.
Any other members of the audience? Okay, none. Is there any comments? All right, Nick's going to look and see if there's anything on Google.
Just my test email.
Okay, just his test. Okay. All right, we'll go to the board then. Rita and Mark.
So since I've been on the board, I believe that SAT classes are important. Not everybody can afford SAT classes. SAT classes also can help with high school graduations. This year, the state of New Jersey said that juniors have a high school math test to pass this year, and if they don't pass, one of the other options to graduate high school is for us to do well on the SATs. That's another way of getting the requirement. So I emailed the Education Committee several times, and I've asked several times. And first they told me after the budget and COVID reopening is complete, we will bring it up to the we will bring it up. I said, okay, I'll wait. That was February 2021. Then I emailed again in July 2020, and I asked for it just to be considered. I didn't ask for it to be implemented. I just wanted it to be considered, and they said the administration knows about it. I understand now it's November, and it has never been brought up in the Education Committee. So I'm going to make a motion for the administration to explore the possibility of providing SAT classes after school as a boot camp, 3 months or 2 months or 3 months or however the administration feels is necessary to for juniors before the June administration of the SATs. And I think this would be valuable because what's it called? Because otherwise, because not every parent can pay $1,000 for SAT prep through Kaplan and Princeton. And I was one of those students that did not have the money to do that. And I think that's an important. So my motion is for the administration to explore after-school boot camp for juniors 2 to 3 months or however months the administration feels comfortable.
If you don't mind, one of the things that we're going to be looking into at the next Education Committee meeting, actually we'll speak about SATs at it. So without saying too much, before you had asked about enrichment, one of the pieces that we're looking at may actually include SATs. So without doing a motion, even though there's a motion on the floor, it actually is going to be part of our topics. So if you like to just, as I said, just hang in there until the next December meeting, you'll hear exactly what we're thinking about administratively that may include the SATs and may include Princeton as well.
Will it be, so the SAT classes of some sort will be discussed in the Education Committee? Is that?
The word SATs will be discussed at the next Education Committee meeting. I can't share too much here without sharing it with the rest of our staff and administratively, but it'll be presented at the Education Committee meeting at the next meeting. So I would, respectfully, if we could hold off on the motion until the next meeting, because it is the topic. Other topics are actually getting bumped back a month so that we could get to this topic.
Awesome. My next question is for the administration. What are the rooms that it used to be for file bank when we approved it? They said that the rooms will be used for other purposes. What are the rooms that are being used for currently?
We'll have to get back to you on that question. Thank you.
Okay, because they were supposed to be used for mental health. That's what the BAA said.
Yeah, I know, I understand. I just wasn't prepared to answer that question tonight. So I'd like to get back to you on where we are with our rooms right now. We know that this question was asked already of us. Also, it was asked by the board for us to show you what exactly the rooms were for. And I know that we took pictures of all of our rooms that we cleared out for file bank and shared them with the Board of Education. But, it's only been 2 months now at this point. But we'll get back to you.
When will we get back? Can I have like some
I-
kind of date, like by next board meeting, in
I-
2 months? I kind of need somehow, because I just need to understand, 'cause, well, like, can I have some kind of reference?
In the near future.
So by next board meeting, would that be fair?
Rita, we have a lot on our plate right now. I'm not, if you want to hold me to a date, sure, by the next board meeting, I'll give you an idea of what those rooms are being used for, the next board meeting.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Another question is the technology audit. I've been asking about it several times. In July, I asked, we said we will get back to me. In September, I asked it will be presented. When will it be presented? When will we know
That'll be the January Education Committee meeting. That was actually bumped for the December one that's going to address SATs and acceleration.
Okay, great. In September's board meeting, I asked about board goals to the board president, and they said that it will be discussed in October. October was never discussed, the board goals, neither November. I was wondering, when will the board goals be discussed? It was,
I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to do it probably when a new board forms.
I'm sorry?
In January, when we organize again.
And we will discuss the board, we will create board
Well,
goals?
not on that date, but once we have the new board members seated, we'll discuss it.
Okay, great. Last question. The school rankings by Lich.com went from 11 to 33. I was wondering, what is the administration doing about it in the past? What is the administration doing because our school rankings are going down by Lich.com?
First, I'm gonna disagree with your premise. School rankings go up and down every year. And one year we're 11, one year we're 33, one year we're 18. So to say the rankings are going down is incorrect. They're bouncing, but every ranking that Fair Lawn is ranked in is always in the top 10, 15%. So to have the administration put together some type of a action plan based on an opinion of niche or great schools, whoever, is not really the wisest use of their time. So if there's a particular issue with a particular area, there might be something to address, which we're addressing now with the remedial programs we're going to do. So I don't think the administration, you're next. No, Mark is next, and then you.
With all due respect, it went from 11 to, I think, 13, then to 17, and then to 33. It went down significantly every single time. It didn't go from 11 to 15, then it went to 9. If it bounced up and down, that's okay. But somehow they use some kind of parameters, and I was wondering if the administration looked at what parameters is actually decreasing every year and tried to address it. There's nothing wrong with addressing if there is some kind of gap of some sort or something is not being addressed.
Nick, do you want to comment on that at all?
No, the only thing I want to say is, I'm not going to get into the rankings debate. You listen, Fair Lawn drops into the hundreds, we should have a real conversation about it. But the rankings, you have to look at what goes into a ranking, what goes into, New Jersey monthly ranking, what goes into niche rankings. And in order for us to analyze that data, when we're yeah, you're right. It was ranked 33 out of 700. So, how many school districts are in New Jersey?
No, we're not going to go back and
So
forth with
either
this.
way, okay, I'll give you the benefit of
There's
the doubt.
600 and something school districts.
600 and something school districts in New Jersey. Sorry, I overshot it. So, we're still performing at an unbelievable level, and that's due to our unbelievable staff that we have here, our supportive parents, our community. I just spoke with a parent this afternoon who was toying with the idea of their child going, to an academy or a program like that, and decided, no, I'm so impressed with our school system that I want my son or daughter to go to Fair Lawn High School because this district is so amazing. And that's due to our teachers. That's due to our administrators. That's due to our parents. This is a great school district. So, yeah, you could debate rankings all you want. And as I said, if we were just, we're in the top 50 once and then we drop back down again, we're consistently up there all the time. because we put education on a pedestal in this district. And that's what makes me proud to be superintendent here. But I'm not going to debate this, and I'm not going to get put on the spot on why our rankings are where they are. Thank you.
Rita, you got 30 seconds. Okay, thanks. It was Mark, then Vlad, then Mike.
Thank you. I have some comments and some concerns. So for those individuals who voted for me, I'm grateful and I'm humbled by your confidence in having me represent you on the Board of Education for the next 3 years. As I've stated numerous times before, I will continue being an individual who's an independent thinker, who votes independently, and always is an advocate for students, parents, and the taxpayers when making my final decisions. By listening carefully to the ideas and the suggestions that my fellow board members entertain, I will continue to show the respect and dignity due to each member. As always, I will continue choosing my words carefully when I'm speaking, because I realize that words do hurt. And I will always display a demeanor that doesn't criticize someone because he or she thinks differently from me. And hopefully, this will contribute to the board where civility is not the exception to the rule, but the actual rule itself. So thank you once again for all those who voted for me. As Nick stated a short time after the meeting started, I wanted to bring to the attention of the chairperson of the Education Committee that I am requesting time on the agenda for the month of December, hopefully, not in December, then definitely in January, to put on the agenda the possible restructuring of the REACH program. I have some suggestions that I would like the committee to hear so that we could discuss them further. Also, I wanted to have, during the Shared Services Committee, some time to discuss the possibility of obtaining those blinking lights that we are seeing by the crosswalks throughout the city here, so that our students, parents, or whomever go to events after school hours when there are no crossing guards, especially at the high school and middle school, can cross safely. And lastly, as we've done in the past on our electronic signs, I am requesting permission for the board to have the stigma-free logo that we had running, I believe it was last year, the year before, on our signage in front of each school. And also this year, in addition to that, to have special numbers that are listed on these electronic signs where people can get mental health help. Not everybody attends schools, but everybody passes by those signs. So those are my 3 requests, and I hope they are entertained. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Vlad.
Okay, a couple other things. So first, maybe somewhat related to what Mark was saying about the billboards. I remember we did it for a few months before COVID, before board meetings on this billboard by Edison. We had a running line that the next board meeting will be in such and such place, such and such time. Maybe we can reinstate this thing, just for let's say a week before the board meeting. Have a running ad on that billboard by Edison or by this school to say that the next board meeting will be date, place, and time. Just an idea.
All right, I see Nick writing it down. I don't see why that would be a problem. We can put a whole bunch of messages up there as far as I know.
And
Before we start agreeing to the rolling billboard signs here, let me just look into it first, because we just have many things that we're just asked to put on the billboard sign. And I don't want to bump something that should be on there that's requested by principals, PTA, or whatever it is. So I'm writing everybody's suggestions down there, but I'm not promising everything, but we'll take a look at it and see. Each sign is different. Some of them manual, some of them are digital, some of them have access to have more words on it than others. So without spending money and buying a brand new sign to put everybody's logo up there, whatever it is, let me just take a look at it and we'll see what we can get up there and what we can't.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
And in a similar vein of advertising board meetings, I know the council does it, so maybe we can do the same thing. Send an email, let's say a week before the board meeting, to the community saying that the next board meeting will be, date and time.
Send that to the whole community?
If
No, I've never gotten an email once.
yeah, if you sign up, I signed up for the emails, so they send me emails about leaf collection, snow removal, whatever, and the council meetings.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Vlad? Mike, then Julie.
All right, a couple things just to reply to Mark. I do know that you wanted to talk about it. The meeting was running late, the last education meeting. I don't know if it's going to be on the next one, but I do know that you wanted to talk about it and the idea that you had. So it didn't fall to deaf ears. I did know that you wanted to talk about it. As far as the SAT course also, it didn't fall to deaf ears. It just, there was other topics that needed attention. And the most important topic, of course, was COVID. Okay? So these things are coming up. Unfortunately, because of the way November works with the teachers' convention and Thanksgiving, we weren't able to have an education meeting this month, but we are going to have one in December with the topics that Mr. Norcia shared with you. I do agree on looking into, the high school has, Mark, the flashing signs now. The high school does have on the crosswalk by the auditorium, has the flashing lights on it already. The town has put it in. Maybe we could put one in on the other one. I know at one point I had talked to someone, I was talking to one of the councilmen about traffic in general, and he said, well, if the school wanted to pay for those signs, they could go all over. So we have to discuss as a board maybe about it, and certainly the town, with the town, shared services is a great place for it to go to. I agree with you. Pedestrian safety in this town is horrid, and it keeps getting worse, it seems. So I agree with you. And the lighting, looking at, with PS maybe, talking to PS about the lighting, especially around the schools for pedestrians, because that's who you would talk to for the street lighting. So, but it's a problem throughout this town, it seems. So, especially now that it's getting darker a lot earlier. So, I agree with that. And as far as the rankings, I just want to say that I agree with Mr. Norcia, but, you have to remember also that the rankings are different, especially this year and last year, because usually one part of rankings has to do with test scores, and we haven't had test scores because of COVID. So any ranking that came out this year is far different than the criteria was last year because there was no test. There was no state test. And niche is a funny ranking because niche, I don't know how it's pronounced, but niche gives a ranking, and besides the ranking, it gives what the ranking, a letter score. And we're A+, I believe. The lowest school might be A or A-. I'm not sure. But we're A+ as a district. So I don't know if, we're in Bergen County. We have some of the best schools in the state in Bergen County. So being up there with those schools, considering the diversity of the town itself, is really good. I want to agree with Mr. Garcia. Should we get better all the time? Should we be striving to get better all the time? Of course. But I don't think, when we're up there with Ridgewood and Glen Rock and some of the other schools in the northern part of the county, that's really good. So that's my opinion as one member of the board.
Thank you, Mike. Julie, before I get to you, I just want to say about the blinking lights. The town has a pedestrian committee, which they have meetings every couple of months. And there's another one coming up next week, next Tuesday, I think, before the council meeting. So I'll make sure to bring that up. And I think Mike might be right, though, that they'll say, go, yeah, sure, put in whatever you want, as long as you pay for it. Because people don't remember this. We paid for half that blinking light in front of the high school, whenever that was put in 5-6 years ago. We paid for half of it.
Actually, Gene, it was at the Pedestrian Safety Committee meeting that I attended.
Oh,
that
okay.
They said that.
Okay,
actually.
Can I just say one thing?
sure.
We spend a lot of money on items that I find extemporaneous. To save one kid's life, I don't really care how much it costs. If they're needed, you have to do it.
Okay, so I'll talk to them, see what they have to say, and probably give me the answer that I think they're going to give me. That's like, maybe we can do one, you can do the rest yourself. And then we can look at it, Nick can look at it, talk to whoever he's
Yeah,
going to talk to, and see what's what.
I've been in touch with the chief of police on this issue as well, and he's been so responsive. I mean, when it comes to this issue, so I do not disagree with you for 1 second.
Okay, Julie and then Vlad.
So I will be brief. I wanted to thank the community for exercising their right to vote and congratulate Joe and Jean and Mark. I am really looking forward to working with all of you moving forward. Second, I too was really interested to see what the empty spaces for the file bank were going to look like. And on October 28th, Mr. Sarapillia sent us an email with a variety of pictures. And as a school-based mental health clinician in a neighboring district, what I loved about those pictures was how inviting the, what I believe used to be the high school main office looked like. It was inviting, it was warm, and I know that the students that I work with, and I believe the students of Fairlawn, including my child and all of his peers, would be really comfortable sitting in that office with whichever mental health clinician or school-based support is going to provide them service. Finally, when it comes to rankings, as both a mother and a board member, and one of 2 current sitting board members who actually send their children to Fairlawn Public Schools, and moving forward come January, the only person who will be sending their children to Fairlawn Public Schools, I think it's really important to identify the fact that I send my children to school here because of the incredible staff, educators, and support people that are in our building and teach our children day in and day out. They are passionate, they are thoughtful, and I come home every day to see my children, my neighbors' children, and my children's friends happy, well-educated, and even on the toughest days, feeling safe and supported by the staff that are employed by our administration. So I don't care if we're 12, if we're 17, if we're 32, our children go to school every day, are getting a phenomenal education, and I know it firsthand because I'm living it right now.
Thank you, Julie. Vlad.
Can we have Rita first than me? Can we have Rita than me?
Sure.
Okay.
With all due respect to the board member that just spoke about the pictures that we got were rooms with shelves. That's all we got. We got rooms and rooms and rooms of shelving. That's all we have gotten. And there was one little tiny room that has a couple of tables. That's all we got. So I don't understand all the other pictures.
Julie.
This
Please-
is-
Please sit down.
And how about all the other rooms with
Look,
just
look,
shelves?
wait, hold on. Julie and Rita. Rita, continue with your comments, please.
Okay. Ms. Mayhem, would you like your phone? There were many pictures sent, and all of them were just shelves. And we were told the reason why we couldn't wait an extra month because all the rooms will be ready in September. This was minute 28 of the meeting on June 24th, 2021, and minute 32 says that we need this space for instruction. Instruments. That's what we need the space. Minute 32, that's what our previous business administrator said. Thank you.
Thank you. Vlad.
Okay. I think that picture was picture of a room where they do COVID tests. I believe that.
No, listen, we're not going back and forth. All comments are directed to the chair, so shoot.
Sure. And the second comment, I just finally found it on my phone. New Jersey may have 600 plus districts. That's quite possible. For some reason, niche only rates 377. So we're number 33 out of 377, period.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you. Okay. Any other board members who haven't spoke or want to take their second turn? Nope, okay. Next meeting, public meeting, December 16th, 7:30 here. Organization meeting, January 5th, 2022, also here. And I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And whatever other holidays are coming up.
So
Got it?
In December, we just have the monthly meeting. We don't have policy meeting.
No. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
That was Mike and Mark. All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you.